Hey, I play with a lot of cameras, and, well, getting into photography, I got my first proper professional camera after shooting for nearly 3 years with the LG Premiere Pro, aka barely above a burner phone, while still getting decent pictures. This little camera, I'm going to call it a camera from now on because it's not a phone that anyone would want to use. That's what got me started. Then I was gifted this. I am extremely grateful to have been gifted this. I do have a new lens. Usually you see it with a 55-250. This is a 55 f1.8. And this whole setup roughly would cost $210. However, a cheaper camera that I've shot some fun photos with recently is this little guy. This is the Canon PowerShot A510. Today, we're going to go outside, shoot some night photos, and compare a couple cameras actually. Because another silly camera that I'm throwing into this mix is the Vivitar 4937. It is a simple camera with one huge feature. It prints out its photos. As you can tell, the photos aren't great. But they're photos, and for anyone wanting a cheap camera, it's like 30 bucks at Walmart. But I suppose the main comparison actually is these two. Subject-wise, we have blue chair and also maybe the other corner of the backyard if I feel like it. Alright, so the little guy is gonna get my nicer Manfrotto small tripod that I use for the GoPro. And the Canon Rebel T1i is gonna get this tripod. It is one of the cheapest tripods you could get from Walmart. Alright, so we're gonna start like 800 ISO. Okay. Might have to back the camera up actually. Just because of the framing I'm doing. But oh, damn. I might actually be able to autofocus this. That is not in focus at all. We're gonna try that again. There we go, now we got focus. I'm gonna be in aperture priority mode here, and let's say we go to f3.5, f4 even. Now suddenly it wants to do a 2-second exposure, so now I have to go and use a timer so that me touching this doesn't shake the photo. And now it's out of focus. That's not in focus, Canon. You can try, but I do just a tad bit better of a job with you. There we go. I had the courage to give Canon control over my focus. It was a very grave mistake, you know that, right? I'm kidding. Although it's a bit skitsy at times, the autofocus on this camera is actually great if you give it light. Okay, so now we have our baseline with my Canon Rebel T1i at f200 ISO, which generally you want lower ISO. For something like this, I would actually go with 2 to 400, just because ISO is only increasing your sensor's sensitivity to light, which brings out the imperfections in your lighting and your exposure. If you get your exposure correct in the first place, it eliminates some of the noise. And I'm also shooting raw so that I can denoise the image later in Lightroom so that any of the bits of noise that are there, they can disappear. So I'm gonna have the camera turn off let it take a nap. So I'm going to switch cameras real fast from the Canon Rebel T1i to the Canon PowerShot A510. We're going from a 15.1 megapixel sensor to a 3.2 from actually not much before it. Oh, my battery's at 6% on the GoPro. I should probably grab a spare. And I'll take a couple just in case it screws up its focus, because I don't feel like manually focusing this one. Because I will say, the screen on this camera absolutely sucks. You would need an external monitor to get pinpoint accurate focus. But I don't think that's what this camera's for. I think it's just more, I have a tiny tripod and a camera. It's dark out. I can do this, you know? I think that's what it's more built for. And you know what? In that situation, it kind of wins. I could fit this into the water bottle holder of my backpack, and no one would care. I did promise to bring my Vivitar into this, so... Photo. We're gonna try. Actually... And it also gives us a really nice dot matrix painting photo. I guess there is kind of a moral to this story. All of my cameras are good in some way. This one's silly, but it's the only one that gives me a physical photo instantly, no matter how cruddy it might look. And it actually gives pretty okay photos considering it's $30. This one might have the tiniest sensor of the entire lot, but it can still give decent photos. And then you just have the powerhouse, the Canon Rebel T1i, which in the ES lineup, it's basically bottom of the barrel. It's not the lowest pickle, but it's not the best pickle out there. I can't leave that in the video. It's not the highest quality sword, but it's better than some of it. All of these are tools I can use, and every single one of these cameras are tools that I can use to show something, an emotion, a story, capture a moment, show something that wasn't very easy to see before. And that's kind of what photography is. I can't see him, but I know he's there. So I guess the point of this video is just, it doesn't matter what camera you use. Just go out and create something. If you like the video you just watched and want to see more of it, I have more coming up, so subscribe so you don't miss it. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. It's what I have for now, so. Oh no, my camera veil. Hopefully I can line everything back up. Oh yeah. Oh yes, falling also works. I can't tell. Everyone gets to be short tonight. However, it is now time for the Canon PowerShot. I don't like this framing or lighting. I think it looks horrible.